Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to cover a very important topic related to community development. In this video today, I'll talk about one of the approaches to community development, and that's called ABCD, which is asset-based community development. This video would talk about what ABCD is, how it is used, what are the different principles of it, and what are the 6 types of assets utilized in the approach. So if interested, please continue watching. What is asset-based community development? So asset-based community development, or ABCD, is a bottom-up approach to community development, and instead of focusing on what's missing or what problem a community has, this model looks at what's already strong, what's already available and valuable within the community. It's a way of recognizing that every community has assets, and those assets can be mobilized to create a positive change. ABCD is about building from the strengths rather than fixing the weaknesses. To give you an example, let's say a community is struggling with youth unemployment, and a traditional needs-based approach might say, we need government funding to fix this, or we lack jobs, or we lack skills. So ABCD here would ask questions differently. What sort of skills do young people already have? Are there local businesses that can offer mentorship? Do we have community leaders who can inspire and guide them? By starting from what already is there, ABCD builds ownership, empowerment, and long-term sustainability. So when is ABCD used? So this is particularly effective in communities with low trust in external institutions, disadvantaged neighborhoods where people feel powerless, and post-crisis rebuilding like after natural disasters, or engaging with diverse communities with different cultural strengths. It's also used when we want to foster genuine community participation, not just top-down solutions. ABCD is not a one-time intervention, it's a mindset. It can be used at any stage of community work, from planning to action to evaluation. For example, in regional Australia, ABCD was used after bushfire to help rebuild towns, not just buildings, but community spirit. Locals mapped their own skills, knowledge, tools, and networks, started their own recovery projects, and from rebuilding sheds to running support groups. So why use ABCD, and what are the real benefits? First is empowerment. At the heart of ABCD is the belief that people thrive when they are contributors, not just passive recipient of help. This shift in perspective is incredibly powerful. Instead of focusing on deficits, ABCD emphasizes what individuals and communities already have, what they already know, and what they already can do. This not only raises confidence, but also restores dignity, especially in communities that might have been told for years that they are in need or they are at risk. When people see themselves as a part of a solution, they develop a greater sense of agency and ownership over their community's development. And this encourages initiative, leadership, and long-term engagement because people are no longer waiting for help to arrive. They're actively shaping their own future. So empowerment in this sense is not a program, it's a transformation from we need help to we have something to offer. Second is sustainability. Another major benefit of ABCD is that it creates solutions that are far more resilient and sustainable over time because ABCD builds on existing assets, which are people, relationships, skills, spaces, culture. The initiatives that support are deeply rooted in the local context. They're not imposed from the outside, and they're not dependent on constant external support or funding. What communities create and manage their own projects based on what they already have, and those projects are more likely to last, adapt, and evolve with changing needs. They are less vulnerable to political shifts, budget cuts, and the withdrawal of external agencies. So sustainability also comes from the fact that local people are invested, and they've contributed their time, effort, and passion, so there's a stronger commitment to maintaining and growing what they've built. Third is inclusion. ABCD is inherently inclusive. It recognizes that everyone has something to contribute, regardless of the age, background, education, income, or social status. This approach values the input of all community members, not just those in formal leadership roles or with professional qualification. It acknowledges that lived experience, local knowledge, cultural wisdom, and informal leadership are just as important as academic credentials. And by focusing on inclusion, ABCD amplifies the voices that are often overlooked, including the migrant, people with disabilities, indigenous communities, youth, and the elderly. This not only enriches the development process, but it also builds a stronger sense of belonging and a shared purpose because everyone can see their role in their community story. Inclusion is not just a moral good, it's a practical strategy for unlocking the potential of a community. Builds social capital. Now, social capital here refers to the network of relationships, trust, cooperation, and mutual support that exist within a community. It's the invisible glue that holds people together and enables collective action. ABCD strengthens social capital by encouraging people to connect with one another, share resources, collaborate on projects, and celebrate the local strengths. As people get involved and work side by side, whether it's through shared gardens, youth programs, local festivals, or informal meetups, they build new relationships and deepen existing ones. These connections lead to greater trust, stronger neighborhood ties, and a sense of safety and solidarity. And over time, this collective strength helps the communities respond more effectively to challenges from social isolation to natural disasters. Strong social capital also leads to better mental health, reduced crime, more civic participation, and an overall improvement in quality of life. Last is cost effective. One of the most practical advantages of ABCD is its cost effectiveness. And by focusing on what already exists, communities can make progress without always relying on large budgets, consultants, or government grants. Instead of importing expensive solutions from outside, ABCD uncovers and mobilizes local resources such as volunteer time, underutilized spaces, shared tools, community knowledge, and this frugal creative use of existing assets reduces dependency and builds financial resilience. While external funding can still play a role, it becomes a supporting factor rather than the driving force. So, in a world where budgets are shrinking and needs are growing, ABCD offers a smart, grounded way to make a real impact with minimum cost, while also increasing the return on investment through deeper engagement and longer lasting results. ABCD is guided by some key principles that shape how we work with communities. First one is everyone has gifts. This is perhaps the most fundamental principle of ABCD. Every single person has something valuable to offer. Whether it's a formal skill like carpentry or bookkeeping, informal talent like storytelling, cooking, organizing, mentoring, or just being a good listener, each person brings unique gifts to the table. Unfortunately, many systems are designed to focus on people's problems, like their needs, their deficits, their limitations, whereas ABCD turns that thinking around and asks, what can this person do? What do they enjoy? What are they passionate about? And thus, this principle restores the dignity and recognizes that no one is truly helpless or useless. Even in the most marginalized groups, people living with disabilities, refugees, or elderly, there are strengths, there are histories and insights that can contribute to community life. The role of the community workers then is to identify, affirm, and connect those gifts so that people are empowered to use them for the collective good. Relationships build a community. Strong communities are not built on programs or buildings, they're built on relationships. Think about the most vibrant communities you have seen. What makes them feel alive? Is it the connections between people? Neighbors who check in on each other? Local shop owners who know your name? or community members who come together for a common cause. So ABCD here prioritizes relationship building as the most valuable community asset of all. And when people know and trust one another, they're more likely to collaborate, to support each other, and to share resources. So instead of starting with what services do we need, ABCD encourages us to start with who do we know, who needs to be connected, who can work together, and when people are connected, anything is possible. Third is citizens at the center. So, in traditional models, professionals or service providers are often at the center, diagnosing the problems and prescribing the solutions. But ABCD flips that model. Here, citizens, not institutions, citizens are the drivers of development. It recognizes that people who live in a community are the ones who best understand its strengths, needs, culture, and possibilities. They're not passive beneficiaries. They're not the experts of their own lives and neighborhoods. Our role as a community worker is not to lead with our own agendas, but to support the citizens in defining and achieving their own goals. And that means stepping back, listening more, and facilitating action from within the community, not outside it. This principle fosters ownership, responsibility, and long term commitment because the change comes from the people themselves. Leaders are everywhere. That's the fourth principle. Often we associate leadership with formal roles like mayors, CEOs, managers, community board members. But ABCD encourages us to look beyond titles. Real leadership can be found anywhere and in anyone, and it could be a grandmother who organizes food deliveries in her building. It could be a teenager who teaches coding to younger children. It could be a community elder who tells stories that pass down values and traditions. So these informal leaders often have deep trust and influence even if they aren't publicly recognized, and they are connectors, motivators, and bridge building in the community. ABCD asks us to identify and support these everyday leaders, giving them space to lead in ways that feel natural and meaningful to them, because when leadership is shared and widespread, communities become much more resilient and inclusive. Fifth is people care. Another powerful belief at the core of ABCD is that people care about their communities. Even in areas facing poverty, conflict, disconnection, people still care. They care about their children's future, their neighborhoods, their culture, their safety, and the environment. Sometimes that care is hidden under layers of disappointment, disengagement, or past trauma, but it's there. ABCD works to tap into the natural motivation to help people rediscover the joy and power of acting together for the common good. This is why ABCD starts with conversations, not assessments. It listens for what people love, what they're proud of, and what they dream about. From there, care can turn into actions. Sixth principle is to listen, discover, and connect. This principle is about approach, how we enter and engage with communities. Too often, organizations enter communities with a list of problems and a set of ready-made solutions, but ABCD teaches us to do the opposite. First, listen to the stories and experiences and hopes and frustrations of people, then discover what already exists in terms of skills, people, spaces, tradition, local resources. Finally, connect. Link people with shared interest, complementary talents, and common goals. This organic, respectful approach creates development that is authentic, relevant, and welcomed by the community. It also ensures that solutions are grounded in reality, not theory. Listening is not passive, and it's the first step to meaningful change. Last principle is start small. ABCD reminds us that big change often begins with a small action. You don't need massive grants, long reports, or top level approval to get started. A cleanup day, a storytelling circle, a shared meal, or a local skills exchange can spark momentum and build confidence. Starting small allows people to see and celebrate early wins, which encourages further action, and it also reduces risk and allows for learning along the way. In ABCD, the first step are often simple, but they create ripples, building trust, attracting new participants, and revealing new possibilities. Some small successes plant the seeds for bigger transformations. Now let's go deeper into the 6 types of assets recognized in the ABCD framework. The first one is individuals, which is in the form of talents, skills, passions. So every person in the community has something to contribute. A retired teacher can offer tutoring. A young person may be skilled in digital media. A mother may have cooking skills that bring together people. A small town created a skill directory. People listed what they could offer, and this led to new classes and mentoring programs or job opportunities. Second is community groups and networks, clubs, associations, groups, and these include like sporting clubs, religious groups, parents association, volunteer groups. These are the social glue of the community, and they already have a structure, trust, and influence. For example, a soccer club used its network to run a youth drug education program with local police, reaching dozens of families. Third is institutions, government and non-government organizations. Think of local councils, libraries, schools, community health centers, non-profit organizations, and they have resources, space. They have staff and expertise, and ABCD doesn't rely on them alone, but includes them as supportive partners. For example, a school in a low-income area opened its hall after hours for community dinners, turning it into a safe space for connection. Fourth is physical assets, built and natural environments, and these include like buildings, parks, roads, transport, gardens, community halls. Even vacant lots can be turned into assets with creativity. For example, an abandoned lot was turned into a community mural project, engaging the youth and reducing the vandalism. Fifth is economic assets, spending power or businesses. This involves local businesses, markets, local entrepreneurship, community currencies. ABCD looks at how money flows and how local economies can be strengthened. Sixth is cultural assets, heritage, stories, identity, values. These include local traditions, languages, elders' knowledge, community stories, festivals, fests, and music. Culture creates a shared sense of belonging. ABCD taps into this to build pride and connection. For example, a multicultural suburb organized an annual Taste of Home festival. People shared food from their cultures, and it built unity and reduced culture tensions. So there you have it, asset-based community development. It's not just a method, it's a way of seeing the world and our communities differently. It reminds us that solutions are often already within the community. People are not problems to be fixed, they are assets to be celebrated. Real lasting change comes from when we connect, empower, and build from the inside out. And as you go back into the work, whether it's in policy, community health, youth work, local planning, try asking yourself, what's strong here? Who's already doing great things? How can we build on to that? Thank you for watching. If you found this video useful, please consider subscribing to my channel and please give this video a like. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.